I guess my take-home message is, it's okay not to believe if you don't, or if you have some doubts or whatever, it's not going to kill you. It won't. It's okay. You can always reconvert tomorrow, just in case. I figure, since I really did believe, and I really did, I was very serious about this, I figure I'm in there just in case I'm wrong now. Maybe it's sort of a way station somewhere. There's different versions of this. I ask believers if I'm in there, just in case. I do think that there's something, I think, deep within us that wants to know, for whatever reason, we have a big enough cortex to think about these huge questions and try to answer them. So for me, I do want to answer the question, where did morals come from if there is no God? And how can you be good without God? Which is the subject of my next book called Why We Are Moral. And what could be more interesting than that? This is a hard scientific question to answer, and I'm working on it.
Don't worry, you're not a lawyer. It is 8:20. We will return here at 8:40 for part 2. During the break, I was approached by one of you. What denomination do you belong to and why? I said, I am a Presbyterian for many reasons, but it is primarily the church in which I'm least likely to be hugged. Please keep that in mind after the break. I was also, my dear friend Judge Anderson is here from your Court of Appeals, and he stood up. He's the only other lawyer here, and he averred as how perhaps you had sprayed for lawyers tonight, and we're feeling very alone. Where are the rest of our panelists? If we can have Dr. Hovind and Dr. Shermer come back out. Or maybe not. Kyle, you get all 30 minutes. Now, here's what we're going to do. We're going to assign 10 minutes. We discussed this, an iterative process, big word, meaning we're just making it up as we go along. And 10 minutes to each to hit the central points of their presentation. And then, I'll do my Oprah. If you have a question, and I emphasize, a question involves an inquiry, not a statement, not a speech. We'll do 3 questions at a time and allow the panel to choose the one that most interests them. So it's kind of, what's that show where you get thrown out when you're very boring and uninteresting? If your question doesn't make it, don't blame me. Michael Shermer, you're going to go first, 10 minutes. You missed the huddle up back there, so. Are you ready, Doctor? Go ahead.
There, did I get it on? Okay. All right. Yes, sir. Well, these could go forever. Let me just share with you a few of the things that are typically used to support the evolution theory and how they've simply been proven wrong. It was mentioned tonight, I didn't get time to I type about 9 words a minute, so I didn't get time to get it down, but about there's evidence for this evolution that, that we have evolved from some other type of creature. All the evidence that I'm aware of, and I taught biology for 15 years, all the evidence that's used to support this theory has been proven wrong. And I think these lies ought to be torn out of our textbook, okay? If you have evidence for your theory, show me, okay? Now, this textbook says the humans have an appendix that is vestigial. You don't need it anymore. Well, that's simply a lie. You need your appendix as part of your immune system. Now, if your appendix is taken out, you can still live, but you got a much better chance of getting quite a few diseases, okay? The appendix is part of the immune system, and the fact that you can live without it is meaningless. You can live without both your legs and both your arms and both your eyes and both your ears also. Okay, that doesn't prove you don't need it. When you take it out, you got a better chance of getting all sorts of diseases. We covered that in video 4. This textbook says the whale has a vestigial pelvis. Many organisms retain traces of their evolutionary history. For example, the whale retains pelvic and leg bones as useless vestiges. This is a lie. Andrew Carnegie founded the group called the National Center for Science Education. He was a strong believer in evolution, and he applied it to the business world. The strongest survive. You wipe out the competition. Andrew Carnegie funded the National Center for Science Education. National Center, yeah, all 4 of them in this little storefront building, the National Center. They say, Bossy evolved to blowhole. The whale evolved from a cow. That's what they teach. This one says, whales have a vestigial pelvis and leg bone that serve no purpose. Whales have hind limb bones that have no function. Just imagine whales walking around, it's true. Well, these are the bones they're talking about right there. Just imagine the whale walking around. The whale's pelvis has no apparent function. This is in textbooks all over the world, okay? The whale's pelvis is evidence of its evolution from 4-legged land-dwelling mammals. This is simply a lie, okay? Those little bones hold certain muscles that allow the whales to reproduce. This has nothing to do with the whale walking on land. It has to do with getting more baby whales. Tear that page out of the book, please. I have in my museum in Pensacola, Florida, a 15.5-foot skin from an albino python. Down at the south end of that python, you'll see it has two little tiny claws, one here and one here. These claws are attached to little tiny bones. They go up inside the snake's body. 15.5-foot snake with bones about 2.5 inches long. This textbook says this python has reduced hind legs, rudimentary hind legs of a python snake. This is baloney, okay? Those little claws are part of the snake's mating apparatus. They don't have any arms. They can't hang on. They don't have a voice box. They can't say, "Scoot over, honey." This has nothing to do. This one says, humans have a tailbone that is of no apparent use. I did a debate in North Alabama against the president of the North Alabama Atheist Association. He said, "We've got proof for evolution. Humans have a tailbone they no longer need." I said, "Mr. Patterson, I taught biology and anatomy. I happen to know there are 9 little muscles that attach to the tailbone, without which you cannot perform some valuable functions. I won't tell you what they all are, but trust me, you need those muscles." I said, "Now, if you think the tailbone is vestigial, then I will pay to have yours removed." Bend over. This textbook says, the coccyx is a small bone at the end of the human vertebral column. It has no present function and is thought to be the remainder of bones that once occupied the long tail of a tree-living ancestor. This is a lie, okay? You could use a tailbone if you had one. Okay, the tailbone is not vestigial. There are no vestigial organs, and if there were, that would be the opposite of evolution. That's losing, not gaining. This textbook says humans evolved from an ape-like ancestor. Every one of these along the way has been proven wrong. And once again, even if you could find fossils that we couldn't prove what they were, that wouldn't be evidence for evolution. You don't know those bones had any kids. So what about these cavemen? I mean, can an ape-like creature turn to a human? There's world's most wanted caveman. We could spend 6 days on this one. Every one of the so-called cavemen has been proven wrong. They're simply not correct, and they should be taken out of the book. This 2001 textbook says the horse evolved from a 4-toed ancestor. This has been proven wrong years ago. Back in 1950, G.G. Simpson said, he was a famous evolutionist, "Many examples such as the evolution of the horse family have been unintentionally falsified. The early classical evolutionary tree of the horse was all wrong." 1951. This has been proven wrong 50 years ago. Get that out of the book, okay? It's not true. He said it never happened in nature. Similar, humans and fish embryos resemble each other because humans and fish share a common ancestor. This idea that the human has gill slits is taught in textbooks all over the world. Let's see, the presence of fish-like structures shows that these animals have evolved from fish and share the basic pattern of fish development. Said it has gills like a fish. This is used in textbooks all over. Those are not gill slits. Those folds of skin develop into bones in the ear and glands in the throat. They never have anything to do with breathing. I've seen people with 5 or 6 chins and they cannot breathe through any of them but the top one, okay? Ernst Haeckel made up this entire stupid idea after he read Darwin's book in 1860. He was an embryology professor in Germany, so he took a drawing of a dog and a human embryo and he changed them and made them look alike. He lied deliberately to his people that were listening to him. He made giant charts of his fake drawings, traveled all over Germany, and converted the Germans to believing in evolution with his fake drawings. Now, on top are his drawings. Underneath are actual photographs of those creatures. Either he's a real lousy artist or he's a liar. Well, it turns out he's a liar. His own university convicted him of fraud. He said, "I should feel condemned, except all the other biologists lie, so it's okay for me to lie. This biogenetic law is as dead as a doornail. It's not true. Take it out of the book." But guess what? It's still used in textbooks all over the world, including in this county. They're still teaching it. Proven wrong in 1875, and they're still teaching it all over the world. Now look, if you have some evidence for evolution, then please show me. We've been offering $250,000 for evidence for evolution for 10 years now. All they have to support their theory are lies, things that have been proven wrong a long time ago. We do spend 3 hours on videotape number 4, and I'm going to cover some of this tomorrow. Some of the lies in the textbooks. They say this, a similar structure proves a common ancestor. The bones in the different arms of these animals develop from different genes on the chromosome. They're not homologous structures. And the similarity could prove they have a common designer just as easily.